Ladies and gentlemen, I can't even begin to explain my thoughts on this game and how I should react to it normally. But what's going on, you guys? It is your boy Coach Shockwave here to talk about another reaction to a game, Week 12. Wind up going into overtime. Indianapolis headed up to Kansas City to face the Kansas City Chiefs. And to be short and sweet, the Colts wind up losing a double digit lead and, pretty much losing this game into Kansas City, falling under the trap of the Andy Reid and Mahomes magic. A lot of people like to blame the referees for this game and things of that nature, but I think the Colts lost this game on their own. They didn't even have to help. The refs didn't need to help them. The Chiefs didn't need to help them. And to be honest, the Colts had multiple chances to actually walk away with this dub and didn't choose not to. But lo and behold, the score was 20-23. The Colts were up majority of the game and just wound up collapsing in the second half, which is just horrendous football to watch. I was in one of the worst moods I've ever been in all year. Uh, Besides the Steelers game, this happened to be the worst feeling I've ever had after a reaction to a loss. Because this game was just so winnable. And the Chiefs gave them multiple chances to just put this game away, but they didn't. They wind up just playing with their food and then just losing the game. But we're going to go through the scoring summary as we usually do. But before I get into it, I would like to appreciate all the support. Follow me on all platforms. You name it, I'm there. TikTok, Apple, Twitch, YouTube, Spotify, all of those things. Just look up Culture Shock and then check out the website we got. It's called thebluestable.com, where we drop articles and things of that nature. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a post-game article. We did drop a pre-game preview article before the game, so check that out, thebluestable.com again. But let's go ahead and hop into this game. So at the beginning of the game, of course, Daniel Jones wind up wheeling and dealing, throwing the touchdown to Michael Pittman Jr., wind up getting the score to 7-0. And then, there was a shootout, pretty much a stalemate, I would say, until the second quarter, when the Chiefs just actually put up 3 points. But the Colts answered right back, and then, Daniel Jones finds Drew Ogletree in the back of the end zone for a touchdown, which leads the score to 14-3. Again, the Colts do what they're supposed to do best, leading them to three again for the Chiefs, and the score wound up being 14-6. And then later on in the half, before the Chiefs gets the ball back in the second half, the Chiefs score another field goal, which makes it 14-9. But lo and behold, the Colts wind up, holding them out and then getting the ball back, leading the score to 17-9 for the Colts to lead the field goal. Then they wind up kicking another field goal, which makes the score to 20-9 going into the fourth. So this is where things get interesting. Kareem Hunt runs in for a touchdown, makes it 20-17, and then they convert the 2-point conversion to Rashid Rice, which makes it 20-20. And then, that makes it 17-20, sorry. And then they make the field goal at the end of the game to make the score 20-20. And then they wind up winning the game off of a field goal to make it 20-23. And this is after the Colts elected to get the ball first. So I would say majority of the game, if you're looking at the stats, you're going to think that the Colts didn't really have a chance at all. The Chiefs had almost 500 total yards. Passing yards was 346. Rushing yards was 148. 5 yards a pop. For the Colts, there was 255 yards total, almost 200 passing yards, 74 yards rushing, and 5.1 yards a pop. But like I said, the identity around this game was looking like they wanted Daniel Jones to win this game for them, because majority of the game, Daniel Jones was throwing the football. And, honestly, I thought that the identity would have been to feed Jonathan Taylor the ball, because there were so many stalled drives where it just looked like the Colts didn't have any chance or any sense of direction to try to running the balls, and they didn't do that at all, which leads to the Chiefs just actually having multiple chances after they have a few stalled drives, and it just led them to walk down the field. The Chiefs held the ball majority of the game, and it resulted in no points most of the time. And I have to give credit where credit is due. The strongest parts of this team, besides the defense, I would say special teams had a pretty solid job. But like I said, special teams was out there because the offense couldn't find anything. But the defense, I couldn't even blame them for or fault them for this game. I think the defense stepped up tremendously this game. And you give a lot of credit to Grover Stewart, who I think had a phenomenal game. Jermaine Pratt, in my opinion, had a phenomenal game. Zaire Franklin was another guy that had a phenomenal game. But, other than that, Kenny Moore, he had a pretty iffy game, 50-50. Makai Blackman was a little lost on there when he was out there on the field. But the safety room, Nick Cross had a pretty decent game. I'll give him credit. Leatu Latu had a phenomenal game. Give him credit as well. But other than that, most of those guys were pretty much hit and miss. Sauce Gardner, he was pretty scrappy most of the game. But a lot of that had to be success due to the pressure that they were putting on Mahomes. Did they get home like I wanted them to? No. But they still put a lot of pressure on Mahomes and forced him to overthink a lot of situations a lot. Mahomes got sacked 4 times, but a lot of these plays that could have just pretty much been dog walked. I honestly think the Chiefs could have been had more points if he would have just trusted his receivers and hit the open spots when they were there. But there was a lot of open plays for the Chiefs. But Lou Anarumo drew up a perfect scheme to pretty much try to draw Mahomes out of those open plays. Like I said, Lou Anarumo knows the Chiefs better than anybody. So having him as the defensive coordinator was just pretty much icing on the cake. Of course, we had a lot of open plays, which is the middle of the field, and which we expected due to the linebackers being in coverage. But besides all of that, like I said, the Colts still had a chance to win this game. Even in the overtime decision, the Colts literally had a chance when they won the toss to have the defense out there first. That was the initial thought. The initial thought was, okay, the Colts are going to go on defense first, but they wind up putting the offense out there first. And I asked myself, I said, why is the offense going out there first, knowing they cannot do anything? They haven't made any plays, any splashes, nothing. So, of course, when the Colts go out there on offense, it was just a doozy. And the Chiefs wind up going out there and not getting anything. And then the Colts get a chance again, nothing. And then it results into the Chiefs getting just kicking a field goal. It was just a abysmal performance in the second half. I say late in the third, going into the fourth, the offense was just non-existent. The first half offense for the Colts, it was special. They were flying around, dynamic plays, especially that third down play to Ashton Doolin. Everything like it was in sync, working, and it was a top-tier play calling. But like I said, you go away from the pride joy of the offense and Jonathan Taylor, who just had a big run in the third quarter, but you go away from it and you don't give him the ball the rest of the game. I just think that's unacceptable. Honestly, you have this guy in MVP consideration. It looked like the mindset for the Colts was to have Daniel Jones win them this game by forcing throws. A lot of throws were being forced. A lot of those passes was just out of reach. A lot of pressure, and even we knew the Chiefs were going to blitz. They were going to send some heat in the second half. Just due to how the performance of the defense was looking for the Chiefs in the first half, the Colts did whatever they want. But in the second half, you knew they were going to turn it up, and they did not. The Colts did not adjust like at all. They kept trying to run into the end zone where Chris Jones was just waiting on Jonathan Taylor or whoever was getting the football. And then they just wound up taking Taylor out of the game and was like, you know what, we're going to get Daniel Jones to win it. That's what the mindset was for the Colts. And Daniel Jones did not do that. He did not deliver. This is not a knock on Daniel Jones, but the identity of the game should have just been to run the football. I mean, we did not run the football like we wanted to. Now, if you look at the Chiefs, on the other hand, they wind up giving the ball to Kareem Hunt, and it wound up working, and it showed the results. So it is what it is at the end of the day. But the Colts could not get the job done. The identity should have been to run the ball through Jonathan Taylor, and which they should have done, but they didn't. And it is what it is. Like I said, hopefully it can bounce back going into next week as a division game. They need to win this game. The Chiefs did not go away. They still have a chance to try to make the playoffs, which is unacceptable, but it is what it is. But the Colts, the playoffs is not it's not promised. I said they have a good record, but they could easily lose this. This is a wild chase for the playoff spots on the AFC. It's very tough. A lot of teams is fighting for a spot, and we did not clinch yet. So they have to bounce back from this game and definitely try to recover. Hopefully, they can see what they could do. But you know what I'm saying? I'm still not in the happiest form after that performance. It was just very sloppy in the second half, and hopefully they can adjust and remember that they have an MVP at the running back position behind Jonathan Taylor. So you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And until next time, you guys stay safe, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and have a good week. And happy holidays.